Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something really relevant to, well, pretty much everyone these days. Your rights when you shop online. We've been digging through a podcast, actually, called Understanding Your Rights When Shopping Online.
Right.
And our mission, really, is to pull out the key stuff, the essentials, so you, the listener, can navigate e-commerce a bit more confidently, avoid the usual pitfalls.
Exactly. And look, whether you're someone who shops online all the time, or maybe just occasionally, or heck, even if you just fill up carts and then abandon them.
Guilty.
Yeah, we've all been there. Understanding your rights is just, well, it's crucial. The internet can feel a bit like the Wild West sometimes, doesn't it?
It really can.
But consumer protections, they definitely exist. There are rules.
Okay, so let's dive in. First base, knowing what you're actually buying. Sounds basic, right? But what does that mean online?
Well, fundamentally, sellers, they have a legal duty, to be clear. Accurate descriptions of their products, that's key. The source material we looked at really stressed this. If what shows up is significantly different from the advert, say wrong material, different color, missing features.
Yeah.
Then you have rights. You have grounds to act. It's not just, oh, I'm disappointed. There are actual legal expectations here.
Right. And the podcast mentioned the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. What's their role in this? Making sure we get what we paid for.
The FTC is super important here. They're the ones who go after deceptive or unfair business practices.
Okay.
And that absolutely includes false advertising online. So if a seller is, deliberately misleading you to get you to click buy.
Like those miracle cures or something.
Exactly. Or saying something's leather when it's actually plastic, that falls right into the FTC's remit. They can step in.
Makes sense. And the advice about keeping records, screenshots, order confirmations. Seems practical. Why is that so important, though?
Evidence. It's always about evidence in a dispute, isn't it? If the thing you receive doesn't match that online description, well, your screenshot of the product page, that's your proof. Proof of what they promised.
Such a simple habit.
But incredibly useful if things go south later.
Okay. Now, what about buyer's remorse? We've all felt that. Or maybe you just get it and realize, this isn't quite right. Can you cancel an online order?
Yeah, this one's a bit, well, it's less clear-cut online sometimes. There's this cooling off rule people know about.
Right, like for door-to-door sales?
Exactly. That's more for in-person, high-pressure sales. Now, the source we reviewed did say some state laws, or maybe even just the store's own policy, might give you a similar window online.
Might?
Yeah, might. It's definitely not a universal right online, not like in the UK or EU, for example.
So the takeaway is, check the store's return and cancellation policy before you buy. Always.
Absolutely critical, before you even add to cart, ideally.
Are there, red flags in those policies we should watch out for?
Oh, definitely. The biggest one, no policy at all, or one that's really hard to find or understand.
Yeah, that feels shady.
It is. A reputable seller will have it clear and accessible. And, like the podcast said, look at the details. Restocking fees. Who pays for return shipping?
Return shipping costs.
Exactly. Those unexpected costs can be really frustrating. It sours the whole thing.
Okay, let's shift gears. Sensitive stuff.
Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
Paying online.
Yeah.
How safe is our financial info, really? What protections do we have?
Well, using a credit card online actually gives you a pretty decent safety net, a really significant one, actually.
How so?
The podcast highlighted this. You have the right to dispute charges. So if the product never shows up, or it arrives broken or damaged.
You can call the credit card company.
Yep, you dispute the charge. It's a powerful tool.
In the Fair Credit Billing Act, that came up too. How does that fit in?
Right, the FCBA. That gives you a legal framework for sorting out billing errors. And that includes situations where, you paid but got nothing, or the item was totally misrepresented. And crucially, it often comes into play if delivery takes way too long, like beyond the promised date, or often around 30 days is a common benchmark.
So if it's super delayed or just never arrives?
The Act gives you a specific process for recourse. It's good backup.
It's reassuring, actually, that those protections carry over online. Now, what about our personal info? Our data? Feels like everyone wants it. What rights do we have there?
Data privacy. Yeah, it's a huge topic, getting bigger all the time. Generally, online shops have to tell you how they collect and use your personal data.
That's the privacy policy link nobody reads.
Yeah, probably. But it should be there, and it should outline what they gather, name, address, browsing habits, how they use it, and crucially, your rights regarding that data.
The source mentioned that just grabbing and selling our data without us knowing, that's not just dodgy, it could be illegal.
Yes, absolutely. Data privacy laws are getting stricter. Think GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California. The details vary, but the principle is growing. You have a right to know and control your info.
So companies just harvesting data secretly.
And selling it off without clear consent, that can definitely land them in hot water. It's all about transparency and, giving consumers some control over their digital lives.
Okay, right. So let's imagine the worst case. You ordered something, done your checks, but it's faulty or it never arrived. And the seller, total silence, radio silence. What do you do then?
First step always is try the seller directly. Always. The podcast was clear on this.
They need records.
Absolutely. Emails, chat logs, dates, times. Document everything. Now, if they just ignore you, the podcast called it ghosting, which is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Then it's time to escalate. You need to look at filing a complaint elsewhere.
And there are options, right? The FTC again. Better Business Bureau, the BBB.
Yep. The FTC, as we said, looks at patterns of bad practice. Your complaint adds to the picture, even if they don't solve your specific problem directly.
Okay.
The BBB, the Better Business Bureau, they're not government, but they try to mediate disputes. And their ratings can give you a heads up about a company's track record.
And the podcast made a really good point about local help, too. Your state's Consumer Protection Office.
Don't overlook that, seriously.
Yeah.
Your state AG's office or Consumer Protection Agency is specifically there to help you, the residents of that state.
They're more hands-on.
Often, yes. They can mediate, investigate complaints against businesses in your state, sometimes even take legal action. It's a really valuable, often underused resource.
Okay, so bringing it all together for everyone listening, online shopping, it should be convenient, maybe even fun, right? And knowing your rights seems like the key to keeping it that way, keeping it smooth, avoiding stress.
Totally. Just having this basic understanding, it really can save you hassle, save you money. It just makes you a smarter shopper.
It feels like it empowers you, doesn't it?
Exactly. You're not just passively clicking. You're an informed consumer. You know the rules of the game, and you know what to do if someone breaks them. It definitely shifts the balance.
So here's a final thought. Next time you're online, hovering over that complete purchase or checkout button, just pause for a second. Think about these protections we've talked about. Knowing they exist and being ready, just in case, to actually use them. That really puts you in the driver's seat in this huge digital marketplace.
If this podcast helped you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us keep making these videos. Thanks for watching.